What is up? Hey, it's the two. It's the three split. There we go. Two split. There we go. There we go. All right. Welcome to Wide Eye Sports. We're going to be talking the Chicago Bears today. We do three different teams on this channel. We do Dallas Cowboys, Minnesota Vikings, and Chicago Bears. I'm a huge Vikes fan, as you can see. So I'm pretty good. Not biased person to ask about the bet. No, I'm just kidding.
Not at all.
Not at all. No, me and Riley do a pretty good job. Some of our Cowboy counterparts have a little bit get a little bit emotional when talking teams. Me and Riley have a good discourse. Riley, let's just open up. How you feeling about your Bears?
Oh man, I am feeling great. I think this season, from a team's perspective, is above and beyond what Bears fans and the nation was thinking they'd be at this point in the season. Ben Johnson's first year.
Record-wise, I
Yes.
completely agree with you. Statistically, this is exactly where I thought they would be, but continue.
Caleb Williams hasn't taken quite the leap forward that I thought he would. And it's not that he doesn't. It's not that he doesn't have his moments. It's that it's not consistently throughout the game. I don't think there has been a game this season where beginning to end he was excellent. Typically, the story of the season has been the first drive looks amazing when everything's scripted, and then the second quarter he kind of falls off a cliff, and then at the end of the game when it's tied and you need a score, he comes up with this miraculous drive that gets him there. And the Bears have impressed me. The defense is giving up a lot of yards. They are also getting a lot of turnovers at key moments.
Number one in the NFL in turnovers.
In key moments. We have won games off the back of Caleb Williams, off the back of our defense getting a last drive killing turnover, and our special teams, whether it's making a last-second field goal or like the Vikings game in Minnesota, where our returner returns it to the 40-yard line on the
45,
other side. Yeah, they run the ball a couple times and then kick the field goal. I'm excited to see how the Bears finish out the season. We have.
So let's stick on that real quick. Let's stick on the finishing out the season part. So you have Cleveland this week. How you feel?
I feel good and bad. I think the game will be more interesting to see how Shedeur does against this Dennis Allen defense, because our front four is not the best. We have to send pressure. But a lot like Brian Flores, Dennis Allen is very creative in how he sends his blitzes. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I think we signed him 4 or 5 weeks ago, and he may have 5 or 6 sacks. I mean, he has been a huge difference maker, especially with Kyler Gordon out, playing in replacement when our safeties are hurt, playing the slot. He has played everywhere. I definitely think it will be interesting to see how Shedeur handles that. I am also not as worried about Myles Garrett's impact in this game. Now, he's an absolute stud, don't get me wrong. But in the Green Bay game last week, all everyone was talking about was Micah Parsons. And he was kind of a non-factor to me. I mean, I don't think he had a sack in the game.
I will say Micah plays a different brand of ball than Myles.
Yes,
Micah's much more of an outside linebacker. Myles Garrett's a D-end. I believe that the reason Caleb is able to escape like he does is because guys like and Jonathan Grenard of the Vikings has become infamous this season for this. As a stand-up outside linebacker, they believe they are so much quicker and faster than anybody could be when they're running at them that it doesn't matter if you're shifty, right?
Yeah.
If they just close fast, they're going to get you. A Myles Garrett can start and stop much faster than he can go side to side. So when Caleb goes to break down and do a move, Miles Garrett will break down and then just go through. And
yes, and he's a
lot of
lot
times,
stronger than a lot of these other defensive ends.
yeah, and I'm not saying Miles Garrett's going to have 5 sacks, but I do believe if I had to put money on it on over under a sack, I would give him 1. But that's any game with Miles Garrett, really. I do believe you guys win that game. I really do. We went through, it's up on the channel now. We went through and predicted the whole rest of the season from week 15 on, and we had you guys finishing leaders of the NFC North, I believe. Did we not?
Yes.
We had you guys winning the North and
a possibility at the 1 seed.
Yeah, almost edging out the 1 seed, not quite. Got a couple NFC West contenders there that are, in the play for that. But this Green Bay Packers game coming up here in a couple weeks, that's another big one. And the Bears really have to be careful not to get ahead of themselves here. Now, I do think I'm really upset as a Vikings fan that Ben Johnson is what I thought he was and is as good as I thought he was, because I would preach it to everybody. As soon as Ben Johnson leaves, Campbell will be gone in 2 seasons. Dan Campbell will be gone in 2 seasons. He won't be able to do it by himself. And you're seeing he's already lost full control of the North. They're not out of it, but they're pretty much out of winning the North the first season Ben Johnson walks away, to the point where he had to take over play calling. And I don't think people will argue that it's gone well.
It's been a mixed bag.
Yeah, it's been a mixed bag. And it's only gone well because he's new and teams have to learn the kind of play calling style he has and the plays he's going to call and what he's going to do in certain situations other than 4th down, because everybody knows he's going to go for it. But there's a lot of that nuance there that I don't believe Campbell's good at, that Ben Johnson carried the load for with the Lions. I mean, the Lions are still, I think they're still top 5 in offense. I'll verify that right now. They're technically first in points for, but that's coming off playing the Cowboys, putting up 44 points, playing the Commanders, putting up 44 points, the Ravens early in the season.
On the Bears.
So you have some of the worst defenses in the league here. You get to play Baltimore, was the worst defense in the league the first 4 weeks of the season. You have Cincinnati, the worst defense in the league the first half of the season. Then you have the Commanders, the worst defense in the league the second half of the season. And then you have the Cowboys, who have been able to go up and down. And then you have an overtime game with the Giants where you get into the 30s because you got to play an extra quarter. So it's not like they're just going out every week against tough teams like they had been against a first place schedule and just putting up 50, right? They're not just doing that. They have had good games, but a majority of those games came before he relinquished or he took over play calling. Only 3 of the good games have come after. So I'm not saying Detroit's cooked. I'm not saying they're a bad team. But their defense did greatly drop off from last season, from a top 3 defense to they're currently 18th. So that's a huge role in it too, that Dan Campbell can't focus on the defense and has to now worry about the offense because Ben Johnson's gone. So I believe Ben Johnson's the better coach, period. The dude is, I don't think he's ever not put together a top 5 offense since he started calling plays. Like, that's just what he does. Like, he's just a top 5 offensive guy. He's a McVay, a Shanahan, a O'Connell, a LaFleur. He's one of those for sure. And it scares me, honestly. I hate it. But I do want to bring something up before we get to the last 2 games, San Francisco and Detroit. It's looking like Chicago will yet again not have a 4,000-yard passer.
Yes.
Do you think Caleb gets there? He needs 270-ish yards a game, about 265-ish yards a game to get there this year.
I think there's a road where we do get there, but our style of football has not been passing the football. It's been having 180 rush yards a game from Kyle Monangai, who I think was a home run hit in the 7th round.
Huge.
And DeAndre Swift, who is I was out on Swift coming into the season. I thought he was a bad signing by polls.
Swift was not good for me.
He has turned it around a little bit this season.
See, for me, he was in Philly the year they went to the Super Bowl and lost. He was the lead back on that team. And then they swapped that out 1 year later, and Saquon has 2,000 yards with that same team.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift barely had 1,000 yards with that team. You're telling me that he can barely hit 1,000 on a team where, granted, Saquon's a top 3 running back in the NFL, but that Saquon can have over 2,000 yards, an MVP caliber season, and win a Super Bowl, and you can barely crack 1,000 yards with that team? Like, that says a lot to me. I am not a DeAndre Swift person. I think he is being given opportunity after opportunity after opportunity because he's a good locker room guy, which is great, and he has a good football IQ, which is awesome, but he's just not a RB1. I don't know why they don't give Monangai all the RB1 catches and bring in Swift on third down for pass pro.
Because, and DeAndre Swift's hands are not the best. He has had several bad drops this year.
Yeah.
I just think his hands are still better than Monangai's, and I think he is a better route runner and a little more elusive.
I can see that. I can see that.
I think Ben Johnson has done this with all the rookies, right? The first couple weeks of the year, everyone was talking about how great Warren was doing and how Colston Loveland was non-existent. And
I mean,
they have really brought both.
Yeah, Loveland has emerged as a much bigger role here lately.
Yes.
In the
Same
season.
with Luther Burden, who was our second round pick, and Monangai. So
ever since the Cincinnati game,
Yes.
Loveland's had a much bigger role in the offense. I will still die on the hill. Warren's a better player. I'm sorry I don't know why the Bears took Loveland over Warren. Warren does everything Loveland does, but better. And that's coming from a Michigan fan. I like Michigan football. Not like a huge Michigan fan by any means, but I like Loveland. I just think Tyler Warren is a Brock Bowers-esque player, and Colson Loveland is a Zach Ertz-esque player, which isn't a huge dog. He's still a good player, but there was just a better choice. I don't know.
From what I've seen, you can do more with Loveland as far as putting him outside, and we already have Cole Kmet, who's 6'6".
Yeah.
He can line up on the side of the tackle, be more of a run blocker, red zone.
Colson Loveland is much more of the Evan Ingram archetype, and Tyler Warren's more of the Gronkowski. Yeah. But, I mean, if you're going to take one archetype or the other, I want the Gronkowski archetype for me personally. But obviously, Ben Johnson wanted different for his offense. So, I have about the San Francisco game. I think that's probably your toughest game of the season, just because it's on the road in San Fran. Going to be, a night game in San Francisco right after Christmas. Everybody's bellies are full, lots to play for. They're just as much to play for at home. So you gotta worry about McCaffrey. Purdy will be healthy. Kittle or Shanahan. That defense will be less banged up by then. Yeah. I mean, it's just it's a real gauntlet of a game to have as the second to last week.
What gives me hope going into that game is Purdy has kind of been hit and miss since he got back.
Yep.
This defense is super opportunistic. Yep. And I think the Bears have shown that their offensive line and their run game can trap, especially going into Philly running the ball. It was bad at the start of the Packers game, but in the second quarter, they were running the ball all over Green Bay, who has a good rush defense.
Good rushing defense.
The bigger question is just how does Caleb Williams... I think that's the biggest factor going into every game going forward is just what can Caleb Williams do and not do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the Niners' schedule here, and the Niners have beaten every team. They're kind of like the Bears. They've beaten every team you expect them to beat, and they've lost to every team you expect them to lose to outside of division games. Mm-hmm. So if you don't count division games in there, like Seattle, they beat Seattle, they beat LA. So those are outliers division games. They beat the Saints. They beat the Cardinals. They beat the Falcons. They beat the Giants. Beat the Cardinals again, division. Pardon me. They beat the Panthers and they beat the Browns, right? All games they should win. Yeah. They lost to the Texans and they lost to the Bucks. The Bucks, you could question. The Bucks were healthy at that time, so it's a different ball game. playing much better. Baker was in the MVP conversation. Houston, we obviously know about their defense and what they can do. In my opinion, the best defense in the NFL, right in front of Denver. And their defense, San Francisco's defense played really, really well the last 2 weeks. They've held their opponents to single-digit points twice in a row. 9 against the Panthers, 8 against the Browns. I do not think the Ben Johnson offense is going to be held in single-digit points, but getting to 28, 30 points is going to be hard. I see this as like a 20 to 24-point game for the Bears.
Yep.
And, I mean, even the Rams in the win got to 42. The Rams in the loss got to 23 in overtime. Not many teams are putting up over. There's only 2 teams that put up over 26. But anytime the Niners have gotten, any team's gotten 25 or more points on the Niners, they've lost. So I think that magic number is 25. Can the Bears score 25 points?
And that's what I don't think the Bears are a Super Bowl team. I think they have a Super Bowl offensive line. Our front three absolutely bullied Philadelphia in that game. Darnell Wright, I think he's one of the best right tackles in the league right now. My only concern along the offensive line is left tackle. And we've had kind of 2 rookies kind of mixing and matching starts at that position.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is a lot better in the pass game. The other one's a lot better in the run game. But I don't think our success rushing the ball has been because we have some superstar stud running backs. It's been because our offensive line has been so good. I think Caleb Williams is on pace to cut down his sacks by 3/4 of what it was.
Yeah, I mean, he's been straight up a Houdini act this year.
Yes, and he hasn't been getting pressured as much as he had last year. And not to look too far forward, but we are in a great position going into this offseason. We're not set to lose a single starter on offense. We are set to lose our 2 safeties, Jaquan Brisker and Kevin Byard. Kevin Byard, I would want to keep just because of how productive he's been getting turnovers. Jaquan Brisker is one of the heart and souls of the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is a big liability in the pass game. He's a great run defender.
Yep.
Not great in the pass game. So if we did move off of him, I wouldn't be sad about it, but I also wouldn't be sad if we hung on to him. You know what I mean?
So the Bears are currently sitting at $1.2 million, but effectively after rookies and all the other things that you have to pay for throughout the offseason and such things, you're essentially at negative $12 million over the cap. So you need to clear about $12 million.
And that's what, and when I say this, you can tell me better. This is just from playing Madden, what I remember saving. Jonah Jackson, we saved some money cutting him. He's our left
you saved 14 cutting him, so there's most of it.
Yep, and then Grady Jarrett.
Oh, hold on, that's 2025. Hold on, let me look at 2026.
Oh, yep.
Jonah Jackson, you only saved $3 million cutting him.
Okay. What about Grady Jarrett, defensive tackle?
Grady Jarrett. Looking for him. I don't see him. Hold on, I'm looking. Grady Jarrett. It would cost you an extra $2 million to cut him.
Okay. What about
in the red?
Tremaine?
So hold on, here. The guys that you could save big money on, and we're gonna go for anything over $5 million. So big money. Really, we can go anything over $3 million. So Jonah Jackson's at 3. Everything else is either below 3 or it's in the red. It would cost you more money. So here's the options you have. You could cut DeAndre Swift, which I think would be a good move. You save $7.5 million there.
Yeah.
You can cut Cole Kmet, which is almost $8.5 million savings. I think that's probably a good move. I know you love Cole Kmet, but you just drafted a young tight end.
Yeah.
So you gotta slide that in there.
Do the cap savings apply if you trade them?
So
I
trade.
think trading Cole would be more beneficial than outright cutting him.
Yeah, so
I don't know how that affects.
Pre-June 1st, you can still save $7 million if you trade him, but you got to trade him before June 1st.
Yeah.
So trading is fine. So getting rid of these players is essentially what I'm saying. DeAndre Swift, Cole Kmet. I know this sounds crazy because he's a good player when he's healthy, but Jalen Johnson saves you $7 million. If he's not going to play, if you have serious concerns about his future, I think you move on from him. Tremaine Edmonds is due $15 million. I know you guys probably just signed him, didn't you? To an extension? I can look here.
I don't think so.
Let me see.
Maybe
No, he's in
ago.
second to last year.
Yeah.
So
And
2026 will be his last year.
That's a move I wouldn't mind trading him because I think TJ Edwards has proven since they've both been on the Bears that TJ Edmonds is the better linebacker.
Yeah, so you're no matter what, if you get him off the team, you save 15 million. So you're probably Tremaine Edmonds, DeAndre Swift, Cole Kmet are probably the three big ones. You can save 7 million with Montez Sweat coming off the team. I don't think that's happening. He's kind of the cornerstone of your guys' defense. So I would say those are probably the three biggest names that are most likely to be off the team or restructure or be traded. With Jalen Johnson being right there is another option. Montez Sweat is an option. I don't think you guys do that.
Yeah, we have enough problems on our D line as it is. I don't think you guys.
I don't think that's where you guys move on from. But and who knows? Tremaine Edmonds could sign an extension, and the cap number could come way down. And you guys only need to clear up $12 million. So if you cut Jonah Jackson, you're there. If you cut Tremaine Edmonds, you're there. If you cut DeAndre Swift and Cole Kmet, you're there. Like you're good. And that's enough to get your rookies in the door and clear fees and stuff. That's not enough to sign anybody else. So you'd be going in with this team and draft picks. But like you said, you're not set to lose any starters. You can sign or you can draft 2 running backs to compete with Monangai. And then you have Cole Kmet, and then you bring in a practice squad or a rookie guy for the backup tight end position.
Yes.
Maybe you're not as...
And another point to all of that, I think that puts added pressure on Ryan Poles. I don't think he has had... A lot of his big criticisms have been in mid-season trades. I don't think he has had super bad draft classes.
Yeah, no, he's kind of the opposite of Kwesi. Kwesi has been home run hit Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Grenard, to name a few. Just a couple guys off the top of my head. 2 of the best players on the team came out of free agency. Blake Cashman came out of free agency. Byron Murphy came out of free agency. Like starters across the board, good high-level starters across the board from free agency. But that's more expensive. So then you eventually do have to supplement with the draft. And Kwesi hasn't done that. But Poles has done a better job, in my opinion, of that, aside from the Loveland pick, just because I think that there was a higher ceiling player there. Other than that, I have had little to no issues with how the Bears have drafted, and I'm glad that they haven't done the Dan Campbell method of drafting linebackers and running backs for your sake in the first round, because as good as the Lions are, taking a linebacker and a running back in the first round, Gibbs is great. Gibbs is in a scheme where he can prosper. You don't put Jahmyr Gibbs on the Titans and he's the same Jahmyr Gibbs, right? He's not an Adrian Peterson, a Marshawn Lynch, a Jamal Charles, LT. He's not a Marshall Faulk, right? He's in a good system with a high octane offense.
Well, and the Bears have kind of already been down that road with Roquan Smith. I mean, they drafted him, I think it was 8th overall, and then didn't end up re-signing him. Let him walk in free agency, if I remember right. So
And that one's a little different because that was outside linebacker, edge rusher. So like edge rusher's okay, but even that's kind of like, you're playing the line there. Like for example, the Giants pick this year. Why am I forgetting
Thibodeau?
No, the first round pick from this year. Why am I forgetting his name?
Is he a lineman?
Yeah, he was the number one. He was the Penn State kid.
Oh, not Brian Burns.
No, hold on.
They keep benching him because he's missing meetings. Isn't that right?
So they not. This only happened. He got benched for the first quarter. God, hold on.
Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter, thank you. Gosh, thank you so much. Abdul Carter. When you watch his tape from college, he was an elite level pass rusher with speed. That's how he won. He only won with speed. He didn't have good hands. He didn't have good feet. He didn't have a good spin move. He didn't have a good bull rush. He didn't have anything else. But that bend and dip around that corner, boy, he could fly. But that's it. And then he doesn't really play a true outside linebacker well because he's an edge rusher. He's not a linebacker.
Yeah.
And so I was very down on him as a top 5 pick. I think he's like a early second round pick, a guy that comes into a good team that can play a role and be a pass rushing specialist. Like Von Miller
third down
is one of those
defensive ends.
What?
Third down defensive
ends.
Yeah.
Von Miller is one of the few stand-up outside linebacker defensive ends that I think of when I think of in their prime, truly dominant outside linebacker and not the D-end archetype. Like even Micah Parsons is a little more DN than he is outside linebacker. Now he can play in between both of them at a level that not many people can, and that's why he's so highly sought after. That's why he was worth multiple first-round picks. There's a reason there's one of him, right?
Yeah.
And that's how they looked at Abdul Carter was, he's the next Micah Parsons. He even went to Penn State. He's got a similar build. But when Parsons was at Penn State, he was a good run defender. He could win with a bull rush. He could win with swim moves. He could win with spin moves. He did all of it. He was a great all-around player. And then you have a similar built kid who happens to go to the same university and wear the same number. And they go, he's the next version of that. And he had his first full sack the weekend before, 2 weeks ago. His first full sack all year, and he's played every game. He had half a sack, I think, week 1, and then he didn't get his first solo sack till 2 weeks ago. I mean, that is not top 5 player production.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's. I believe you either take a 4-3 D end, a quarterback, a wide receiver, a running or a left tackle. Those are the positions you go after, unless if there's a Barry Sanders running back, if there's a Randy Moss wide receiver, then you go there. But
generational.
Get the important positions locked up. You pay your quarterback, you pay your guy to protect your quarterback, you pay a guy to get after the quarterback, and then you pay a guy to catch the balls from the quarterback. That's the order of operations for me, right?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if we can get after their quarterback if our quarterback ain't standing up right. And you're seeing it with the Bengals, right? Joe Burrow can't consistently lets the team down because of the blocking up front. Like, it just is what it is. So, but anything else you have to add to the Bears? I've asked pretty much all the questions I have for the Bears. I do have one thing I want to say if you don't have anything else left.
I do have one question for you.
Yeah.
There has been a lot of, I guess, comparisons to Caleb Williams. What quarterback does he look like? Who does he look more similar as?
No way. I mean, we're going the same route with both of our questions here. This is amazing.
I think he has Patrick Mahomes' talent developing at the speed of Josh Allen. What do you think of that?
So I'm pulling up. Dang it, I did it wrong. Hold on. Hold on. So I have a comparison for Caleb Williams. Perfect. Go there. I don't know. I don't remember what season this guy starting is the problem. So let me look that up. I have a comparison for you. Okay, so there's that.
Are the play styles similar or are the numbers similar?
So I think the play styles of these two quarterbacks are very similar, and it's going to oh my God, it's so perfect. Oh my God, it's so perfect. This guy isn't as, because of the modern NFL, the rushing quarterback is so much more used outside of behind the line of scrimmage. Like, it used to be mobile quarterbacks were just behind the line of scrimmage, creating time, creating plays, and they would never just take off and run themselves because defenders could decapitate them, and it was legal. So they were like, yeah, I'm good on that. Nowadays, they have all sorts of protection, this BS, and they can run for 10 yards of play and slide, and it's okay. So the rushing stats, I believe, for quarterbacks are way off from this guy's time.
I would say Caleb Williams' legs are something that is underutilized.
Yeah, absolutely. This is more about how they behind the line of scrimmage only.
Yep.
This is gonna sound crazy. Tony Romo. I think Caleb Williams and Tony Romo are so freaking similar. So their first year starting, okay. Tony played in 16, Caleb played 17 games, so Caleb gets an extra game here. The quarterback record, 5-12. 5 wins for Caleb, 6 wins for Tony Romo. So very similar records.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams, 62% passing. Tony Romo, 65% passing. Very similar completion percentage. The passing yards get a little differed because Romo played. He started 4 less games, but played in only 1 less game. So the raw numbers is 3,500 to 2,900. Still not super far off, but similar. The pass yards per attempt, 6.3 to 8.3. Not huge there either. The passing yards per game, 200 to 180. Not hugely different there. Passing touchdowns, Caleb had 19. Caleb had 20. Tony had 19, but Caleb played in more games, so that's pretty similar. Interceptions, Tony was bad with interceptions. Caleb's way better with that.
Yes,
6 to 13.
That has been his biggest, I guess,
bright spot.
Bright spot, yeah.
I've noticed
decision making and not throwing interceptions. Now, I say that. He just threw a game-sealing interception in Green Bay, but...
Tell me how you feel about this. I have noticed a lot when we play Caleb Williams anyways, when I'm watching him on TV, most of his errant passes come throwing towards out of bounds. Like when he's making those like arm angle throws and throwing things crazy, they're usually directed at a player running towards the sideline. So if he does miss, it's sailing, right? It's going way out of bounds, so he doesn't have to worry about it. He's never trying to make that throw over the middle or back across his body, which is good. It's a good trait to have. But the thing that makes me so like flickery between these two, Caleb and Tony, is the escapability. You probably don't remember watching a lot of young Tony Romo.
No.
He was like,
I saw old man Tony Romo.
Yeah, exactly. They coined it the Romo spin move. Like there was a time in the NFL where people like talking about a quarterback rolling out of the pocket was called the Romo. Like being Tony Romo. Like that's what he was known for.
I think Caleb is just as elusive as Justin Fields behind the line of scrimmage. Which is something
but
in
a different way, but in a completely different way.
Yes.
In a standard quarterback way, like Tony Romo was, like Aaron Rodgers was. Fields was because he would see the blitz and just bail. He would run full speed away from it and then take off running. Caleb has the pocket movement and awareness to step up, slide, and then get off
jump
somebody.
Over a guy.
Yeah, and then start like looking downfield for a throw and then throw it at him as he's going out of bounds, incomplete, or a great catch. Like that's Caleb's style of play, which is what Romo did, which is what Mahomes does today, which is I don't think Allen does as much of that. Allen's more of a Fields type runner where he sees the pressure and bails. He'll go and he'll take off with his legs. I think Josh Allen is probably the greatest mobile quarterback ever.
I would say that.
It's Josh Allen, Mike Vick, Randall Cunningham, Cam Newton. Those are the 4. Steve Young.
It took 3 to 4 years for Josh Allen to really become Josh Allen.
And so that's my biggest thing with like JJ McCarthy is JJ McCarthy struggles. I mean, you've seen firsthand what JJ McCarthy can do when he's on, right? Like he can be an explosive, game-changing playmaker with his legs and with his arm. And it is Josh Allen. So there's the Brian Daboll thing. He got the Giants head coaching job, recently fired. Daboll was given that job because of what he did with Josh Allen. And what he did was Josh Allen, rookie year, we talked about it in the Vikings episode. The stats are bad. The stats are really bad for Josh Allen. He takes that, he improves his second year, he takes that, and between his second and his third year, Josh Allen and his private quarterback coach, not Brian Daboll, took his entire throwing mechanics, broke them all down and rebuilt everything back up. And
And
it
I
went
think
from
that's Caleb's next step in this
yeah,
offseason.
it took him from a highly inaccurate playmaker to a highly accurate playmaker, which makes you an MVP. And that is what I believe. I believe there's a couple of guys. The big four. So Caleb obviously has that potential. Drake May, we're seeing it.
Yeah.
Aiden Daniels, we've seen it. And McCarthy was the fourth guy in that draft class that I felt was right there in with all of them. And a lot of people did, a lot of people didn't. There was a lot of people like the biggest downside for McCarthy coming out was the lack of reps. We won't get into that.
Yeah.
Long story short is they all had really big, strong arms with high levels of athleticism. All of them. They're all 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", and 215 to 230 pounds, right? They're all big dudes with really strong arms, really good athleticism. And you have that, and you have a Justin Herbert, you have a Josh Allen, you have that archetype. And I do believe, I mean, Caleb got it when he was at OU, the Mahomes comparisons of like, look at what this kid can do. And I was never super high on Caleb coming out. I believe Jaden Daniels should have been the first overall pick. I told you guys should have taken Jaden Daniels. And coming out of last year, it looked like a home run. Now this year, Jaden's been hurt. So say what you want. I still believe Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in that class. And if he wasn't playing for an absolute dumpster fire right now, they would be winning football games.
I will say, I don't think it mattered what quarterback we took last year. That coaching staff
that coaching
going
staff
to put them in any sort of
But could you imagine, hear me out here, could you imagine Jaden Daniels last year, that version of Jaden Daniels playing under Ben Johnson? Like, I think, I know you don't want to think about that because Caleb's your quarterback and it is what it is.
Interesting how different the offense would look with Jaden Daniels and his strengths versus Caleb Williams and his strengths.
My thing with Jaden is I believe Jaden was, and this is going to sound crazy, I think he's the best pocket passer from that class. Like, the way he can sit in the pocket, and he's like Tom Brady in the pocket. Like, Tom Brady had the slide and could move and do all these things. But when you watch Tom Brady in the pocket, he almost stands flat-footed, just like this. And then just, and you would watch, like, in the Detroit game in the playoffs last year, they would send, like, 6 at him. And he would just, like, sit there and look at the blitz right over the top of the blitz. And just cool, calm, like, no change in the demeanor, just drop a dime, touch that. You know, and that's who Jaden is. But he also has the Lamar Jackson level athleticism that if he can put some weight on and make himself durable, oh my God, insane. Caleb is the one step down from that, in my opinion, of like total potential. Like, I believe Caleb and Drake had the same potential, and that Drake May was going to be a surefire. He was going to be a star quarterback. He was going to be a Pro Bowler. Like, there was no question in my mind. But if you could take Caleb and get any Mahomes out of him, it notched him out just a little bit higher than May. It's if you can get the Mahomes out of him. And I don't say that as like I think he is Patrick Mahomes. It's if you can get, like, Mahomes has this weird ability. I don't understand it. Like, it's just, like he'll break a tackle and then take off for 15 yards and break a tackle 15 yards downfield and then like go down, and it's like, how did that dude do that? Yeah. How did he do that? Like, you're constantly like a magician at all times. And Caleb has the body style, the play style, the throwing ability, all of those things. But Mahomes is Mahomes because what he has up here combined with his body.
And I think Caleb's still getting there.
Yeah, Caleb has all the talent, but it's a getting there thing. But like, I don't know if you can teach everybody to get to that level. Like that is it's Mahomes because it's Mahomes, you know.
That's exactly what I thought with Justin Fields. You had said over and over he can't see the field, he can't throw with anticipation.
Yep.
And my big thing was, dude, that can be taught if we get him with someone other than Matt Eberflus.
But it still can be taught.
He's still doing all the same things in all these other teams.
Yeah. It can be taught. It doesn't mean he's teachable. Does that make sense? Yeah. Just because you can teach somebody something doesn't mean you can teach everybody something. And I truly believe Fields, when he gets out there, can't do it in real time. He can sit in front of a chalkboard and go, okay, yeah, you're supposed to throw here. But when he gets out there, something happens in his brain. I don't know whether it's his vision, how he sees things, whatever happens, he can't do it on the field. He's obviously smart enough to be impressing coaches and having a spot on NFL rosters, and he can run plays at a manageable level. But he can't go out there and just week after week after week after week diagnose defenses, and it's unfortunate because he is like a super athlete. He's more athletic than Lamar Jackson. He could play running back, he could play receiver, he could play quarterback, he could probably stack on 20 pounds and play fucking tight end. Like, he's a super athlete, and if he could read a defense, he would be MVP year in, year out, but he just can't do it. And
he's a fantasy football MVP.
Yeah, he's a star. I mean, with his legs, dude, he's a star. He's a playmaker, not a quarterback. And that's the biggest difference is, like right now, JJ McCarthy, he is not allowed within the Vikings offense to be a playmaker. Not a lot of people know this because he's a 6'4" white boy, but JJ McCarthy came out of high school as a dual threat quarterback. Jim Harbaugh called him a dual threat quarterback. Like, McCarthy can use his legs really well. And there's been a couple Houdini escape acts this season where you're like, oh my God, he got out of that. You know what I mean? And then he just doesn't. Kevin O'Connell doesn't want that.
You want a quarterback that can run. You don't want them to rely on running.
Exactly.
That should be a second only when you have to and you can't throw the ball. You run?
I agree completely. You run when you have to and no other time. The offense is designed a certain way, and it is what it is. But do you have anything else you want to add to the Bears before we hop off here?
No, I think I've pretty well gotten it all out there.
All right, we'll do it again next week. Like and subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Yep. Deuces.
All right.